This is Computer Science Discoveries, and we are in Unit 3, Lesson number 12. We've been doing a little bit of work with some conditional statements, and now we're going to put those into practice as we move on into Lesson 12, where we're going to figure out or learn how we can use keyboard inputs to create more animation and more things happening on our screens. So here we go. Key down. This is going to be our new code for this one. So on level number 2, your job is to make a prediction. So as you look here, it says the key down block is the first of a new set of blocks that will let us get input from the user. This is the first step down our road into actually making games. See if you can predict how this block works. You're not going to write any code. So do this. Read this program. Make a prediction about what you think how the code will run in this box, and then hit run on the program. And then while it's running, press the spacebar on your keyboard and then discuss with an elbow partner, were you surprised? Is this what you think would happen? So as you look here, all we see is a draw loop, white background. And then it gives me some properties for text aligning. We haven't dealt much with that yet, but you can get the idea. X position, Y position. The text size is 100. That's pretty decent sized. And something about key down when we hit spacebar, because that's what it says here, something's going to show up at 200, 200. What do you think is going to happen? Make some sort of prediction here and then click run. As you move on into level number 2, now we're going to see what happens with our, when we put the key down, we get true when we're holding it down and false when it's not pressed down. So the input for key down is the name of the key you want to check, and we put it in quotation marks. So some examples you could use: X, up, that would be the up arrow key. Space is the space bar. You can use the key down as an input to an if statement to change your animations based on your key presses. Okay, so let's look at this code. All right, here's what we've got. We've got some kind of sprite set to be giraffe. And it says in my draw loop that if I key down H, I'm going to get a hippo. If I do key down P, I'll move this up a little bit so you can see it. If I put P and depress that, I get a pig. If I press R, there is no condition there. All right, so first go ahead and run it. Okay, so it starts with giraffe. Okay, I'm going to press the H key on my keyboard. Ta-da! If you press the letter P, here's what happens. I'm going to press the letter R. Nothing is changing right now. Your job, let's go back to your instructions. Your job is to add a block inside this third if statement and change the animation to a different animal. Notice just setting the animation. So go into your sprite toolbox, setting your animation here. And notice they didn't call out their variable to be a specific name. They just left it be sprite. So I don't have to change that part. Then go ahead and pick something else out of what they have preloaded for you. Or if you want, you could get fancy and choose something else in there. All right. But your job is to go ahead and set it to be something that isn't already there. When you hit run, it starts with giraffe. Here's H, here's P, and now R. Ta-da, hit finish. Okay. In level or bubble number 4, it says you can change the sprite's position based on key presses the same way you changed its animation. So add an if statement inside your draw loop, check whether the right arrow key has been pressed down, add code inside the conditional to move this sprite right if the right arrow is down. Okay, so add an if statement. Control, here's your if statement. Okay, right there. What it's asking us is, we're saying if the right arrow key has been pressed down. Now, if you're confused on how this looks, come on back and see what they did in prior ones. Okay, so under the world commands, you've got key down and key went up. So we're using key down, and then we're going to program in there what's happening. So key down, if the key is pressed, so basically that means what key is pressed, and it's going to say right arrow. So let's see what we've got for options. Okay, right. You could type that in manually as well. Use quotation marks. Okay. Then it says add code inside this condition to move the sprite to the right when the arrow is down. So I've got some kind of bug here. In fact, if I just, there's my ladybug. Okay. I want to move it to the right, to the right, to the right. That's a horizontal movement there. It's named bug. You want it to move to the right. So if it's right there and I want to go this way, I'm increasing my x values. I'm just going to type bug.x there. I don't know. She doesn't move too fast. Too. All right. Now, let's see what happens. When I run it, this is all that occurs. But if I press my right arrow key down, okay, she starts moving. If I hold it down, ta-da, cool. Now we're getting some interaction with the user, okay? All right, after you get done with that one, let's move on into level number 5. Oh my goodness, the fish are back. Remember them? So we want to make these fish move to the left only when the left arrow key is pressed down. So let's take a look at what we have to do. They're telling us add an if statement to check when the left arrow key is pressed down, and then move the commands for moving the fish inside the if statement. All right. So here's my draw loop. My if statement is here. So I'm going to move this inside, and it really doesn't matter where. I'll just put it here for now. Okay. If my key went down, okay, and they're saying, whoops, which one did they want? I'm assuming the left arrow key. That makes sense since the fish are going to the left. So I'm going to choose left. And then simply all we have to do is move all 3. Now, just for fun, I only put that one in there. So watch what happens. What do you think is going to happen? Blue fish, green fish aren't being controlled by my left arrow. Aha. But the minute I start pressing my left arrow key, then here comes orangey. All right. So simply get those guys in there. And now everything's static until I play around with my arrow key. Sweet. This isn't that hard. Cool. Level number 6. Oh, guess who made an appearance again? It's the gears. Okay, let's make them spin only when the space bar is held down. So we're going to do the same thing that we did with the fish, is you've got to add this conditional inside the draw loop. Do it after the background. In my world toolbox, you're going to put in, if the key, let's see, we want spacebar, okay? And then put all of these in here. Now, again, just for fun, if I did this, the blue one doesn't move until I start touching my spacebar, okay? There we go. So put all the rest of those inside and then reset run to make sure it works. Cool beans. All right, here are these last 2 here, 7. I'm going to have you read through 8, and then we'll go into 9. These are the 2 that I need you to show me so you can demonstrate what you're doing. So it says, once you've got your sprite moving in one direction by responding to pressing some sort of key, whether it's spacebar, arrows, or maybe even a letter key, okay? Getting it to move in all 4 directions should be more of the same. All right, the basic keyboard control you're developing here will become the basis for many of the games that you are going to make in the future. So the bug sprite, here it is, that we made responds to the right arrow, okay? That's what we programmed already. They're going to tell us, add 3 more if statements and program them, 1 for each arrow direction. So we've used the right one. We're going to have to do left, up, and down. Okay. Each statement should move the sprite in the direction of the arrow. Make sure you're thinking X and Y and whether you need to increase or decrease the value. So let's get to town here. Okay. This is the right arrow. Let's get another if statement. Okay. And we're going to do basically the same thing, but we have to go to the left. So hold your horses here. Let's get this part down first. Pick left. Boom. Okay. Now I want my bug. If it's going left, that's still horizontal. Okay. So I'm going to go into my sprites and pick my .x bug. Now, when you get over here, we got to think for a moment. Going to the right was adding. So therefore, going to the left will be subtracting. Now, you can keep going back and grabbing out of your toolbox this way, okay, to do a subtraction. But if you've noticed, they've got a nice variable name. We can just start typing and it will go ahead and recognize what I'm typing. Bug.x, put a space, then subtracting, put a space. I'm going to use 2 again, so everything's the same speed. When I click out of there, it automatically does it. Now, hey, if you like grabbing these tools, keep it up. Some people prefer text, all right? And you can interact both ways is what I'm after. Let's try this. Okay, here it is. I'm going to do right arrow. There we go. Left arrow. Sweet. Okay, do the same thing with up and down. All right, so we got to go back to control. I'm just going to grab both of them now while I'm here. Okie dokie. Key down. I'm going to put that there. And again, if you're in text, you could copy and paste a lot of this stuff too. So we need one that's up. We need one that's down. This time, keep in mind you're going to be moving vertically, and that's your y-axis. Okay? Boom. Again, notice I'm doing all this with just one variable, bug. Bug. Okay, now remember up here at the top, my y value, if you look over off to the where my show grid and where my x and y is, 0 is up at the top and 400 is at the bottom. So if I want to take this bug and move it up, you're actually decreasing the value. So you're going to type bug.y subtract. I'm going to keep the same rate of 2 since that's what I've been doing in all the rest of these. And bug.y add 2. Well, let's see what's happening. I'm going to run it, play around with my arrows, left, right, up, down. Oh, cool. We are getting so ready to program a game. All right, I really want you to spend some time looking at lesson 12, okay? Copy, flip, rotate. Rather than going and looking for a whole bunch of different ones, if you take one particular sprite that either you've chosen from their toolbox or that you create, you can all of a sudden use bubble number 2, or bubble number 2, okay? This particular instruction is how you would flip it, okay? And that flips it across the y-axis. So you're flipping it this way. That's really a horizontal flip, okay? Now notice it also tells you if you hold down the Alt key, then if you're on a PC, then it'll flip it across the x-axis, which really is a vertical flip. Rotating rotates it 90 degrees counterclockwise. If you hold the Alt key or the Option key if you're on a Mac, then it's going to rotate it clockwise instead. This becomes important because in this last level, here's what we're doing, okay? Right now we're back to Ladybug, and I've got my Ladybug right here, okay, with what I've programmed, and it says duplicate your chosen bug image 4 times, and then edit each of your images to point in one of the 4 directions. We'll use the set animation to change the image on the bug sprite when the different arrow keys are pressed. All right, so hold on. So let's go in here, okay? Here's our Ladybug that we're using. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to call, let's see. So if I just hit this button, Notice now it's this facing left. So what I'm going to just call this is ladybug underscore left. Okay, just so I can see it. Okay, then let's see. We probably want one that is going to, when we go up, we probably want it to face that way. So I could try rotating. Haha. Oops, I didn't want to do that to my original though. Jinkies, dunk, dunk, dunk. There's my original. Make another copy. Let's make this one ladybug up. Okay, and make another one, copy, and let's make this one, well, I suppose up, I better fix that one, shouldn't I? Up, rotate. Okay, this one, it'll be my ladybug facing downward. Okay, ladybug down, boop, boop, boop. There we go. Okay, cool. And you can play around a little more if you wanted to flip this one so it faced that way instead. Knock yourself out. Okay, once you have these done in the animation tab, when you come back here, okay, and we hit run, now the right facing one, I can leave it that way. Okay, if when I go up, I also want it to face up. Otherwise, right now when I just press the up, that looks weird, right? So if instead, or not instead, but I'm going to add under the up, I'm going to also add within my conditions here that I want my bug to be the upward facing one. And now, of course, I can't see what's going on. So I'm going to get rid of me for a little bit. Here's ladybug up. Now, before I change the other ones, watch what happens. I press this key, but if I press up, sweet. All right, let's go to town and fix the rest of these. For the downward one, Shazam, ladybug down. And what am I missing? Left. To the left, to the left. All right, little bug. Let's go to the left. Awesome. Here we are. If I go to the right, yes. If I go to the left, up, down. Sweet. Hey, have some fun there. And when you get this one done, be sure to submit it and come and show me. As always, have some fun and may the force be with you. Happy coding.